We're going to welcome to the stage some of the most interesting people I know, and John Mason. I'm going to pass the microphone across to my good friend Chris.
Thank you. Hello, Wembley. Right, good. So we're here today to meet some lovely people. Good friend John Mason, Preeya and Leanne. So guys, tell us who you are and where you're from. Start with you, John.
I'm John from a company called Sideways. You can see it on my hat here. We're a social learning platform which has been live now for about 3 months, but before that was a company called Vidleos, which I've worked closely with these two lovely ladies with, and we're here today to talk to you about social learning.
Amazing. Hi, I'm Preeya. I am from Grind, which is a group of restaurants and bars. We also have a retail arm, so Grind at Home is very big, and a lot of you might know who we are from there. I'm the head of people, been with the company for 5 years, progressing myself through the ranks, and very excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Leanne, and I work at Pilgrims. I'm the Learning and Development Manager there, and have been with them for 3 years now. If you haven't heard of Pilgrims, then you should try and come in for a pizza. And yeah, really excited to be on our first panel today.
And that was very good. You're fine. You're in. It's going. So yeah, we're here to talk about learning, social learning in particular. And I think the biggest thing we're challenged with at the moment is people in terms of resource. We don't have enough of them, and the longevity of how long they stay with the business. It's a challenge. So, and I think the kids are changing how they learn, right? And we're going to talk really about social learning above anything. So John, can you explain to this lovely audience what social learning is?
Yeah, sure. So I think for quite some time now we've kind of done learning pretty poorly in the workplace. We've sheep-dipped people into it, where we've used platforms that are maybe not quite right, and we've just said, here's your learning. A real top-down approach to how it's done in terms of, this is what you need to know, and then good luck with the rest of your stay with us. What we're trying to do is look at it through a slightly different lens of the social learning or peer-to-peer learning, which is around people sharing their knowledge in a platform that was built to contain it, to where you can share it, where you create things, upload them, you share them with your peers, you can ask for help if you can't find the things that you need, and we can really start to get this two-way thing happening where first of all you upload your knowledge and it can be shared with everyone, and that can be everyone's brilliance within the business. Or the second way of doing it is that you can ask for it. So if you can't find what you're looking for, you can ask for help, and someone in the business can help you out and upload something. And then our mantra around that is, if you help one, you help many. So by just solving the problem for one person, it's going to solve it for everyone else in the business too.
Love it. And we're old people, so we learn differently to these people over here. So Preeya, in Grind, what does social learning mean to you in your business?
Yeah, great question, and exactly what John's just touched on in terms of, we used to have these dated practices, these traditional ways of learning that just wasn't for everyone, and it didn't work. And for quite a long time, I think we tried to push that, and we've come through the pandemic. Our team especially are a very progressive young workforce, and they learn differently. They don't all respond and learn in the same way as each other, but this power of sharing knowledge has been something that's really successful. And when John came to us and said, I want to introduce Sideways to you, we took it to the general managers, we took it to our chefs, and they were so excited about getting on board, because the idea of they lead this, they drive this, is very empowering, and at the end of the day they're able to answer each other's questions instantly, and that's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to be progressive and forward thinking and keep on top of things as they come up. So very excited about it.
No, I love it. And I think, and obviously manuals, when I grew up in the business, we had lots of manuals, we had lots of paperwork we had to sign off, we had to store them in dusty files on the shelves or whatever, but now it's all changing. And same for you, Leanne, and Pizza Pilgrims, which is another cool brand, can I say that? You're great pizza. Cool brand. But what does it mean to you guys? So social learning is something that the new generation are teaching us more than we're teaching them. How are you incorporating that into Pizza Pilgrims?
Well, we've actually just launched Sideways, so already we're seeing a good uptake, which is good for the first 2 weeks. I think the same as what you guys have said, it's moving on from that career path that we kind of force on people to say, you have to complete this workshop, you have to attend a matter of sessions and read all the textbooks. And it's just moving on from that and allowing people to take ownership of their own time. So I think you need a little bit of patience with it, because people will be wanting to develop at different stages. So you might not get a whole workforce really jumping on the bandwagon and listening to all the podcasts and sharing lots of YouTube clips and things that's going to help other people, but there will be a time and a place when that is going to be right for them. So that's where we've just got to keep putting all the learning tools on there, and it will be the right time for someone to do it.
Yeah, I think part of that comes down to being progressive and to also allowing your business to, or give them permission to do things, right? So what tends to happen when you talk like this, or you say to people, we can learn through our peers, or we can learn sideways, is that they say, well, yeah, what if they upload things that, they shouldn't, or, what if something's not quite right? And then you say, well, what if they didn't upload anything at all? What if people weren't sharing things? What if people couldn't solve problems? What's the opportunity cost of that? So, there's all of the knock-on effects from, knowledge gaps and, problem solving and sharing ideas and helping each other. That to me seems worthy. That to me seems worthwhile. We've just got to encourage it. We've got to let people inspire people and let them help each other along this journey. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but imagine, and we've got a plan in place for that, right? Where we're going to send some comms out to the people and say, hey, we'd love you to find some help around these things, or we know you're great at that. Can you upload something doing that? And then, once we've done that, once we get that happening and we start that ball rolling, and then we'd say to people, look, if you can't find what you're looking for, you can ask for it, and you can ask individuals or your team or location or the whole business. We're going to solve problems really quickly.
And I think with that as well, they're going to be hearing it from their peers. They don't, if I start sharing things about how to change a beer keg, or how to do your morning walk around, they don't know that I've worked in, well, they do know I've worked in hospitality, but they'd rather hear it from someone that they work with, or that they've been mentored by, and that is doing the job at the same time as them. So I think there's going to be a great response from people learning from each other, but also those people that are sharing those skills. It's a very rewarding thing to see people learning from you. So I think it's going to be really good.
What we're trying to do here is, sorry to jump in there, Chris, we're definitely trying to build this community and this sense of shared purpose, and we know this is really powerful when it comes to engagement and motivation and inspiring our people. We have such a vocal group of people in the restaurants. I know they want to speak up, they want to put forward their ideas, and we don't want to hinder that social element, because that's what we run our business off at the end of the day, and that's crucial if we want to continue with this forward way of thinking and this forward way of delivering what we do on a daily basis.
No, I love it. And I think one of the most important things about hospitality is everybody has a superstar in their business, right? That everybody in the business knows about. So everybody, and I worked for the Hard Rock Cafe for a long time, was a young lady, not so young now, called Rita Gilligan. And Rita had been there she was the first ever waitress in Hard Rock. She's been there for 50 odd years. But everybody's got a Rita, that's what I always say. But we don't really share their stories, and I think through peer-to-peer learning, sharing videos, seeing these people doing great things, they're suddenly getting recognition outside of their network, which I think is the way kids do on social media, right? But we need to start doing it internally in hospitality to make sure these guys, A, get recognition, and B, stay with us, because we're losing too many people.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and on that, another part of my career, I was at Carluccio's, and I spent the first 6 months not asking anybody a question. I was petrified. I didn't know any wines, any cheeses, any deli meats. I just kind of guessed. And I suddenly realized that if I'd asked for help earlier on, I probably would have some more benefit. Why do you think it's important that these guys are actually putting their hands up and asking for help in terms of learning?
Well, I think it's a natural thing. As you say, I'm old too, but when I started out in learning, I had to learn the hard way by asking a ton of questions, and maybe 1 out of 10 people would help you, right? They would come up to you and say, hey, I know how to do that, I'll show you how to do it. But most people kept it to themselves, and they wanted to keep it inside because, they didn't want to give their, all the gold away type of thing, or they just didn't have time, or they couldn't be bothered, right? There was the thing. But now young people are hardwired around technology, and it's, they're natives around tech, they're natives around sharing. So all we need to do is provide a safe place for them to do that, and one place where all this knowledge can end up, and then we can search for it, then we can ask for it, and we can just build on that. And I've seen it with working with you two, already, and being involved in the the chats we've had with the team members, with the managers, with the AGMs and some of the team, and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, what do you think? And then each one of them came up with something they would like to share, right? And something they'd put in there. So it's just encouraging that behavior and letting people do it. And I think now, as I said, 1 out of 10 before maybe helping, I think it's 9 out of 10 now. We just need to find the 9, right? And then we can start to populate things. So.
Absolutely.
I think there's going to always be something relevant to someone's job as well, whatever someone's sharing. And even if it's, like for an example, if we're trying to stretch our general managers, we always talk about the soft skills, and I think it's a common question around all of us, like how do you train that? But for example, if you've listened to an amazing podcast that perhaps your managing director has listened to, and he recommends it and he puts it on this platform, and creating those amazing conversations that then the managing director can have with the general managers around leadership or whatever the podcast was about. It's just a lovely place to be able to store all of that information and share it with whoever's willing to learn.
Yeah.
Love it. And I think one of the most important things about learning is that we actually can repeat it and replicate it over and over again, but not in a boring way. And I think the kids will tell us now, you watch the way they behave on social media and how quickly tech changes and tech moves on, that actually you see that they want to have that in the way they're brought up through school. I've got 3 kids. They all learn very differently to the way I did. Well, they're just learning, which is good. And they will grow up into hospitality. They'll potentially be hospitality teams in your business. So are you seeing other barriers, with these guys? Are you seeing a real change in the shift in learning? Have you seen much changes in the people you're recruiting now?
I think our people are becoming more vocal about wanting to learn. This stigma of there's only one way to do it and you have to sit down and just do it is completely dated. And to have varying stimulants and varying ways to do this, like I didn't even know what a podcast was not too long ago, and I'm a millennial. So it's being able to introduce and expose ourselves to different ways, and people have strengths in learning and people have vulnerabilities. So it's a really good way of trying to find that balance and make sure we're including everyone out there. Every employee is attending to. I think it's a fantastic thing.
Same for you. Sorry, go on, John.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there. Everyone talks about inclusivity now, right? And D&I and all those important things. And learning needs to be inclusive, because learning isn't just I know how to do something, do this. Learning is how do we adapt? How do we learn from that and make it better? It's not necessarily going to be the best thing in the world forever. How do we manage that and move it forward and take it to a place where it becomes even better? So if we can learn through each other to do those things, then we can move on to do extraordinary things and do things that can save time, save money, build better processes in the business, and ultimately, drive more productivity and then hopefully, profitability through getting shit done properly, right?
I agree. And I think, and one of the big things that came out the back of the pandemic is that actually events like these, networking, I know it's always been around, but there's a real shift in the way that brands, competitors are behaving with each other. And I know you guys have actually have been sharing information. It sounds like you're in the Secret Service, but sharing information between you, which would never happen before, right? That you guys are standing shoulder to shoulder and actually sharing information that maybe in the past you wouldn't have dreamed of doing. Is that right? Because you're quite close to each already.
Do you want to explain what the group you started
Yeah, okay.
was?
So I think COVID did do that, right? It accelerated the way that we share things and information. So we started something called down there, the People Collective, which is a bunch of us brands working together to come together to first connect and then to solve problems. So, and it's suppliers too, the lovely Megan's here as well. So it's around this concept of building on what we've just talked about with social learning, but enabling each other to share the things that we have and we know, and then ask for the things that we don't know. And you guys have, solved a lot of things just recently doing that, right? And
definitely. And I think we've all worked in jobs where it was frowned upon almost to share anything that you had in place, and that could be tools, that could be a training plan or an HR document. There's a million things it could be, but it was something that you weren't really allowed to share. But since we all got together, we've just been really open about asking questions to each other. And as soon as that first person says, do you know what, how do you run your inductions? I'm not 100% sure, I think we can be better. And the more we've all spoken about it. The ideas are amazing, and there's nothing bad about sharing what other people do, or even stealing it, stealing the ideas. And because as soon as you give an idea, there's going to be a time when you're going to need some help back as well, and that's what we found, haven't we?
Definitely. I think the pandemic proved a pivotal time where a lot of us didn't know what we were doing. This concept of furlough came up and everyone was a little bit lost. So even back then we started pulling and reaching out to people that we wouldn't have normally have done, because there was this hindrance or this perception that you don't go to a competitor. However, we've been forced out of our comfort zones now. We've been forced to reach out, and we've actually built an incredible network system, one that we're not afraid to reach out and ask a sensitive question or ask something that we don't know, because we're putting our hand up and we're saying, hey, we're a bit vulnerable over here, or hey, we don't know what to do next, and that's okay. We can do that. And we've proven that it's been really, really successful. I've definitely, for my business, have gained so much from Pizza Pilgrims, from Sideways, from this community that is the People Collective.
I actually, even randomly, I reached out to Lush, and although they're not in hospitality, I was just so, I had such an amazing customer service experience. I've tried to find the right email and things, and like us, they've got back to me and said, we'd love to share with you how we train our staff to remember thousands of products and tell you all about it in store. So it's just that whole learning culture. I think we're just looking at it from a totally different standpoint, and we want to share what we've been working on and what works, because I guess ultimately the whole thing is we want people to love hospitality as much as we've loved it. And you can see from all the things we're going to share on this social sort of learning platform is there's so much to hospitality that you can get. So yeah.
And I think it's nice, right? Because this isn't just about the brands talking to each other. There's lots of suppliers in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's people like Megan from Road to Ready, and there's these other guys. There's Michael Tingsager's in there as well from Hospitality Mavericks, all sharing great content and for free. There's no cost. It's just people sharing information to help build each other up. And I've forgotten what the phrase is, when the tide rises, all boats rise, right? And it's the same thing. If we all kind of reach out and help a little bit more, it becomes a lot easier. And I know that's your mantra anyway, that's what you've spent your career doing.
Yeah, like we talked about it in the workplace, but if we talk about it in community, then if we do reach out to people and we have one place to put all these things, then over time that fills up pretty quickly. So the platform fills up with the knowledge. The knowledge is in the platform for anyone that signs up that wants to come and get it, to ask for things that they need to. And that's what we're trying to foster, is this kind of open channel to getting the things that people need. Why do we just live in silos anymore? Why do we not feel like we can ask people for help? And if we're not, giving ourselves permission to do that, how do we expect to, land it well inside our own businesses when, we can't do it ourselves? I think as leaders we have a responsibility to eat the dog food too, or whatever that expression is, right? So it's around saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm not, Preeya said it really well when she said, just being vulnerable. Being vulnerable doesn't mean, or not knowing something is a bit vulnerable, but it doesn't mean you're stupid or you're silly. It just means that you haven't had a chance to learn that yet, right? And we can all ask for those things and then learn them. And to Leanne's point, I think, the uploading of these things and then working on them together, or the induction processes or things like that, we can make them better.
Yeah.
Because you started it, you've taken it, then the next person gets it and adds to it, and then that just lives and breathes, in the platform where other people can come in and get it and say, oh, I'm doing it this way. And everyone's like, oh, that's amazing, And then how did you do that? And then those questions pop up. So, that's what we're trying to achieve, and we want more people to join us on that.
And everyone's so curious about what other people are doing anyway.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. We want to know how the other people are training and welcoming their teams and all of that.
And Dan Nash talked about it yesterday. He was talking about telling stories through brands. And he said, although people will try and copy you, you are you, right? So whatever you have, the magic dust that created Grind or Pizza Pilgrims, that's going to remain with you anyway. Well, how you work and how you function, it doesn't really matter sharing. I mean, there's a robot behind here serving drinks, right? That's the future if we don't watch out. So we need to be careful that we kind of keep these teams engaged, educated, learning. And I was talking to John. We used to have, it's really boring, but glass washers that broke every week in Carluccio's. We had 100 sites. and it used to cost £700 per glass washer to fix them. I could have fixed that overnight with a video, stuck it on a platform and shared it across the estate, but we didn't have that. So it was me in my car driving around going, don't do that, don't break it, this is how you break it down. So it cost a lot of time and a lot of money when I could have been doing better stuff. So I think it's a total place for it. And how do I join? So if I wanted to be I am part of the People Collective, but if anyone else wants to join you, how do they join in?
Well, it's still really new. We got thrown into doing this chat today, but from my good friend Karen at the back there, just threw us up here. But we're 3 months into this, so we're building a website soon which will enable people to just sign up and then get access to the platform and then get access to the tools and the knowledge within the platform, and that's coming. But I think if you look for Sideways or sideways.ai, then send me a note via that through the contact on that, and we can get you sorted out. It is live now. We just haven't really told too many people about it, and we will. And I think the audience will grow, and I don't mind talking to 10 people to begin with, because we're on a journey ourselves, and we have to keep talking to people in order to get the right people on the bus and the right people sharing what they need to share. And our clients will grow and they will talk about it, and their people will move on to other places and say, why don't you do something differently too? And it's not just about our platform. Yes, I'm passionate about what we do and how we deliver it and the tech we've built, but for me, what I'm more passionate about is getting your people sharing what they know and asking for help. That's it. And they can do that on multiple different platforms and different types of things in social media platforms and that sort of thing. I don't care where it happens. I just want it to happen, right?
I like that. That's very good. And Preeya, Leanne, what do you think, in terms of learning in the future for you guys for you guys and for your teams, what are you hoping for? Are you hoping that obviously you want more people to come and join the collective so you can steal more ideas, Leanne? But what about in terms of learning for the guys that are coming through? Obviously you hope that it leads to retention, that these guys hang around a bit longer. Is it achievable?
I think it's the right time and place for everyone within the business. So once you're in, it's knowing that there's a platform that you can learn and take ownership of your development. There's a million support tools there, and it's more than just your average career path. Here's your first aid workshop, and all of that's really important still, and we're still doing that. But it's the extra bits. So I do think that's going to attract a lot more people who might not think they want to develop within hospitality to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, for myself and for our team, it's about putting our people first, and that's the bottom line. That's what it comes down to. And in order to do that, we need to stay informed, we need to stay updated, we need to continue to think ahead and strategize and know that our team and our employees are really passionate about what they're doing, genuinely passionate. And that comes from making sure that we're getting the information from not just one source. We're not keeping and retaining and doing the same thing day in and out and referring to the same textbooks that we had 6-12 months ago, but we're actually starting those conversations ahead of time and saying, okay, let's think about what's happening in 6 months, or let's think about that a global pandemic has hit. How are we going to stay up to date? How are we going to make sure our employees feel valued? And how are we going to ensure that they're motivated on a day-to-day basis? That's what it comes down to.
And that's the key, isn't it, with textbooks and books? Some books are great, right, because they're great stories or they're great fiction or whatever it is, and you can keep them forever. But the problem with learning is it's changing every day. Mm-hmm. And the problem with information is it's moving faster than anyone else can. So it's how do we capture that and keep giving that to our guys? Yeah, and everybody lives on the phone, right? You waving your phone at me for a reason? You got a call?
No, I think that the elephant in the room we haven't spoken about yet is content, right? So young people can do a video in 90 seconds that'll explain something that would take a trainer 2 hours. Right, and to embed that into the business and then go and embed it in every single location takes time and effort. And I remember first starting out on our visual learning journey with Wagamama back in the day, 10 years ago, and they had manuals for everything, and they got updated every 3 months, and they got sent out, which took a week to get there, to every single location that then sat around for a week till someone did something with them. Now, and then someone did or did not read them. Right, so now what we can do is say, hey, solve that problem right now, solve the dishwasher problem, put it up. That solved it for everyone. Share it with everybody. I can tag it, I can send it to everyone, and I can say, please watch this. Then I can see if they've watched it, and I can see if that's made a difference to how we're wrecking our dishwashers, right? So all of those sorts of things, and the content, and what we're doing with these guys, and for every brand that comes on board, is we're building a playbook that they can use to create their own content. So the other day we went into a vegan burger joint, and I helped their people. So one of their amazing burger makers made 10 burgers. We filmed it. It was their entire menu in 2 hours, where we had 10 2-minute videos to make the perfect burger. So in 2 hours we trained, or can train, their whole business and turn that around in such a quick time frame with amazing training on their own phones. That's game changing. That's,
Absolutely.
Content and platform, are both critically important.
And Kieran would say content is king wherever he is. So yeah, it's very true. So we've got like 5 minutes left. So I just want to do a bit of a wrap up. So the People Collective is live.
Yeah, not the website, but
No.
the
But it's
actual.
living.
The
People
doing.
are in it. People are in it.
The doing is happening.
But social learning is definitely alive, and that's something that's going to continue growing and growing. And Leanne, what do you hope for the future? You've got Speak to Pilgrims. How many locations are you now?
We've got 16.
16.
Mhm.
And you're busy. Are you opening more this year?
Pardon?
Are you opening more
We
this year?
are. We're opening in Brighton. So we've got Oxford outside of London, but it's going to be our next pizzeria outside of London. So that's happening in June.
And again, so the social challenges that brings, that you've got to get on the road and train, so you can help.
Yeah.
Same for you.
Yes, we've got 8 locations at the moment. Watch this space. We also have our retail arm, which has 55,000 subscribers for coffee on a weekly basis. So we're growing, but we're actually now kind of running 2 businesses that we need to keep aligned, and we have to keep together and amalgamated and focused towards the one mission. So that's our biggest challenge at the moment, Chris.
And do you know what? That's really interesting, because we talked about diversification yesterday, about how during the pandemic, a lot of brands had to change just to stay open, right, or to stay afloat, and because they found new revenue centers through digital means. And the problem with that is you're changing the operation, aren't you? You're not suddenly flipping pizzas, or you're not just making coffee, you're making coffee pods. So it becomes very different, which then affects everything else you do. So learning, the way you recruit, the way you train, the way you keep people changes along the way. And that's, I suppose, before I wrap up, is a nutshell what you can fix. No pressure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's not me fixing it, it's your people fixing it, right? So we just give them the tools to do it, and we give them some, energy and focus and inspiration around what they're going to share and how they're going to share it. And even things like systems, I've worked in technology for such a long time and seen it poorly executed across many estates, when it could have just been sharing something about it that made sense. What is it? Why do we use it? What's it mean to our customers? What's it mean to the business? And what's it mean to you? And telling those stories and landing that properly in, a way that's coherent to them and they can understand. And then how do I use it? How do I actually use this thing? And then making it easier for people to use, right? If we do that, if we think like that and we execute like that, we're going to be in a lot better place, and find those experts and share that knowledge.
Love it. Have you got anything else to add? Sorry, Preeya, go on.
All
No?
good? No.
Right, we are nearly done. If there's any questions, please raise your hand. Don't be afraid. No? Thank you.
Oh, we had a question.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, in social learning, the most difficult thing, I think, is to make sure that people actually engage with the platform. So how do you make sure about that? To engage.
They're engaged in
Oh,
social
okay.
learning.
I think the engagement comes through people doing and people recognizing the people that are sharing the information or the experts. So first we have a job to find those experts, to go and bring it to life, if you like. So we go find people that are good at things. So like I explained with the making the burgers, the lady was incredibly good at it. We all recognize it. Then when they open a new unit somewhere else, they see this person there, they've heard about this person, they want to learn from that person, right? And then they want to ask that person questions in order to be better at things themselves. And the engagement comes through these people being able to connect with others, around their learning journeys, you know, and us activating that learning together is very, very powerful. And as I said, it's really early stages, and people have talked about social learning for such a long time, and it really just has been vaporware and, you know, a bunch of nonsense. It's not ever been activated properly. It's just people talking about it. I think now is the time to activate it and the time to get those people connecting with each other.
Yeah, because training is faceless normally, right? You get a book, or you get someone who doesn't work for the company making a video, so you don't really connect. But if it's your mate John, who you met at a conference last week, who works in Brighton, who suddenly made the burgers, then it becomes real, right?
I think with the launch of it as well, to get people engaged at the beginning. So when you launch a new platform, you have to sort of do weeks of prepping everyone, getting ready for it, and choosing the right people in the business that are your champions of it, and they know everything about it, and they're GMs, they're head chefs, and they help launch it basically and keep everyone engaged.
Hi. So my question kind of leads to what was asked, and it is like because it is about video content creation. How do you get the buy-in from the people that you want to share their talent? And do you support them with some training to create the best videos? That's my question.
I'll start off here, if that's okay. Our people are very social focused. So on Instagram, we have over 290,000 followers. A lot of our once customers are now our employees. They're people that are very keen to, at every opportunity, to jump on their phone. They want to take a video on the latte art that they've just poured through their coffee, and they want to share that with all of our 7 other locations. And the only way to be able to do that is through technology. We're not so fussed on how great that video looks or how professional that video is. We're focused on the content and the meaning behind it. So being able to get one person up onto the platform, and we've trialed it through little things like our professional Facebook pages and things like that, where we've started this journey. It's already organically existing and, you know, coming up through the ranks. It's just a matter of launching something official and saying, right, we give you complete autonomy over driving this forward. And I know our people, and I know that this will definitely work for them. It's something they're very excited to get on board for, but there is definitely a buy-in element for it.
Yeah, I think if I understand the question correctly, what we're trying to do at the same time is say these are what you need to do. This is the type of learning that needs to exist. Is that we're helping each customer or their customers and their people to better understand how to do it themselves, right? To be able to, like there's workarounds that you can do to get, you know, the videos into a smaller size, so they go up into the platform easier, so they stream easier. And one of the guys I was with just uploaded it into WhatsApp and then uploaded it from WhatsApp into Sideways, and it shrunk the video for 200 megabytes to 20 megabytes, which makes it easier for everyone, right? To upload, download, watch, stream, and all those things. These are the things that we're all going to learn and share with each other in terms of what does best practice look like. But thank you for the question.
Hi, I'm Holly Smith from Giggle. Thank you, great panel. We ran from a meeting. We didn't want to miss it, so apologies for meeting start. Thank you so much for sharing what you've shared with us. I feel like I'm being interviewed myself.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Do you want to come sit up on the stage?
So what I love is the fact that, you know, leading on actually from both the questions, is obviously you're investing not in just your staff, but your productivity, etc., which I believe makes your staff happier. And I'd imagine that's helped with the retention of your staff. So do you publicise now, do you promote when you're recruiting that you have this amazing system in place that you know, for the learning and development? Because obviously everybody's looking for staff. We're a solution to that, by the way. But, you know, with regards to actually showcasing, you know, staff to come and be part of your team, you know, you're showing the investment. So are you using that to promote to your new recruits as well?
It's definitely going to be something that we are going to start shouting about because it's so brand new to us. But I think it's one of those things where we're not saying to someone who's interviewing to be a sous chef, for example, to say you have to go through all of this for your next step. It's just you're always learning if you want to, and I think that's a huge thing. if people want to learn and grow, even if they don't, and they'll know that they can when the time is right, definitely something we want to shout about when we're recruiting. And hopefully to some people who do want to develop will see this as a really good opportunity for that. So hopefully it attracts more people as well.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Sorry, I keep jumping in on top of you. Sorry, John. We've, sat down with our managers to begin with, and we've launched it through them because, at the end of the day, they need to be happy in what they're delivering. And if they're not, we'll go back to the drawing board. We've had an amazing response, and again, we will also definitely shout out about it because it's something that's really exciting, and it is reinventing the wheel, and it is changing the way we change and think about things. So yeah, it's definitely something that we'll be talking about more in the earlier stages of recruitment and onboarding.
It's short. Sorry, I'm jumping in now. But surely, unfortunately, previously in hospitality, people have poo-pooed it and said you're too intelligent to work in hospitality, or I've heard things like when are you going to get a proper job? And actually, people don't know about the investment and the fantastic career opportunities. So I'd imagine that would promote changing this previous stigma that we've had.
Conversations need to happen at the beginning of someone's journey. This is something that's become a reactive measure, I think. We're waiting 12 months, 18 months down the line when someone puts up their hand and says, oh, I'm really passionate about hospitality. I think I want to develop my career in it. Whereas we need to shift that mentality. We need to start these conversations earlier, and we need to be able to demonstrate through tangible possibilities that you can evolve and you can adapt, and the opportunity's there if you want it at the end of the day. It all has to come at the beginning, and starts with learning, it starts with networking, it starts with all of these things we've just talked about.
Yeah, I think people will demand it soon. I think young people will say, what have you got, right? And if you don't have anything that's attractive to me and how I'm going to learn, then I don't want to join. And that's a thing, and it's going to happen, and there will be some sort of revolt. And when we're looking at, the Great Resignation, as America's calling it, it's a thing, and it's coming, and it's, people are saying, what do you have? And I know you guys have just launched your amazing new way of doing your CVs and stuff, so kudos to that. But this is new, this is exciting. We need to champion it through great brands showing some initiative to do things, and then showcasing the learning that's happening within the business as real life examples of how you can learn from these amazing people. And that's the kind of second wave that we'll get to once we can showcase some of that via their channels, via our channels, to say, check this out, this is how you can learn. And I think that's something that's going to be pretty exciting when we get there to do that.
Thank you so much.
I didn't get the one thing. Is one platform with different companies that share the social learning. So everybody take part of the social learning?
Yes, that's actually on our roadmap. So right now, the information in both the two companies is separate because it's their learning, but we're building a gateway between that so that you can make learning going up into the platform available to all. And we focused on that as a thing, but we haven't got there yet. We're still in the kind of learning from what we've built so far stage, and then we're moving to that. So I really want to see that happen. I want these guys to take that learning and say, there you go, help yourself. And then other suppliers and people can throw their learning into one of the platforms, and that can be available for every platform as well, or to our customers or clients. But through the TPC that we spoke about, that's entirely different. That's one place for everybody to share things that they need in order to do their jobs better and to find the things that they need to learn to take back to their businesses. But again, we should be able to connect that up with the platforms that these guys are using as well. But yes, we want to do that. So.
When it's up and running, you talk about how many people involved or companies?
Now, and using Sideways?
When it will be?
So right now there's 10, but I think by the end of the year we'll be 50 to 100 because we're signing someone else up every week. It's just having a conversation with people, and also we've put our arms around hospitality and retail, and we're saying we're affordable, we look after you, we'll help you no matter what your size is, and it comes with all of the compliance training and those sorts of things too. So I want to make learning more accessible for everybody.
Finger crossed, huh?
Thank you.
Right then, I think we'll let you go. Oh, hello.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.